Hi, thanks for joining us again. My name is Huib Dijkstra. I'm a senior end-user computing specialist at VMware.
And I'm Joris Adriaanse, Business Development Manager at Fondo. So thanks for joining us this week, where we're going to take care of all the applications for iOS, Android, Windows 10, macOS, and we're going to integrate with VMware Horizon for virtualized applications and desktops.
So let's begin. I'll start with iOS, and you can have an internal application or a public application. Public meaning this is an application coming from the public store where we will add configuration. Internal will mean that you have your own offline version of a iOS application which you want to upload into the console. So let's start. I'm going to click Add Application. So our group ID has already been filled in, and I'm going to upload the application. So in our case, we're going to use a application for iOS, so an IPA file. So once the file has been uploaded, you can click Continue. And then you can modify some configuration if need be. So in our case, you can select if the application is in beta or not. In our case, it's not. The minimum required iOS version, for us that's 11. So I'm going to select 11.0. And I only want to have this for the iPhone, as our application isn't iPad compatible. So if you want, you can add a couple of add description. So in our case, this is home automation. And you can even add a support email. So they can see this information inside of the Workspace ONE hub, so the intelligent hub on their phone. So next up, I'm going to go to Files, check that, so everything's still fine here. And here you can also, of course, require some terms of use before using the app. And with images, you can drag and drop the icon files, which has already been automatically added to this configuration. But for now, we're going to select Save and Assign. So next up, I'm going to create the assignment. And I'm going to give you a description. And then I'm going to assign it to all our corporate dedicated devices. The deployment begins immediately. And here you can select if you want the application automatically deployed or on demand. For now, we're going to select on demand. Next up, I'm going to check restrictions. I want to have this removed when the user unrolls his device from Workspace ONE. Let me see. Backup, I'm going to leave default. And make app MDM managed if user installed. This means that if the user already has this app installed, then the MDM gets added to that application. That's a feature I definitely want. I can even select a tunnel profile, which we haven't configured yet. But with this, I could add micro VPN to this application. We want to prohibit end users from installing this application if their device isn't fully managed. So by enabling this setting, we can enforce the users to have a fully enrolled device before installing this application. Next up, we're going to select Create to create the assignment and select Save to finish the configuration. So that's it. That's our first iOS application, an internal application. Next up, Joris is going to show us how to integrate with Apple Business Manager to integrate public applications.
So Huib showed you how to get an internal application to your mobile device. I'll show you how to get a public application there. There are two ways of getting a public application. The first way is the second tab called Public. And that's where you get the options to search directly into the Apple App Store. So we'll press Add Application, select our Apple iOS platform, and look for an application, for example, the Slack application. Press Next. And this is a direct API into the Apple App Store, and this will get our result. And the top one is the one I'm looking for. So I'll press select. So here you can see the details of the application, and we can fill in the same comments as Hype did with the previous application. I don't have quite a lot of options here to deploy because this is coming directly from the App Store. When pressing save and assign, I can create an assignment name, Slack, public for everyone. And I'm also going to assign this to all the corporate devices. I want this to be automatically installed, so every device that gets enrolled into our environment gets this application. I only want this installed when a mobile device is fully enrolled into Workspace ONE UEM. I don't want people creating backups because we are going to keep corporate data in here. If a user already has Slack, we're going to take ownership. And I'm going to press create for the assignment group, press save, and press publish. So this public application for Apple iOS is now available for our devices.
The end user now sees his Slack application. When he tries to install it, he will be prompted, I presume, for his personal Apple ID. Is that correct?
Yes, in this case that's correct. If you select a public application, this will be connected to the user's personal Apple ID. There's also a way of doing this from a corporate side, which is called Apple Business Manager. There are two parts of Apple Business Manager. One is for enrollment, we covered that in the second video, and the other one is Volume Purchase Program, also called VPP. This VPP account is the owner of your mobile apps and will distribute them to the devices. Let me show you how that works. We'll press the Purchase tab, and we'll need to set up a token. For this, we'll need to go to VPP Manage Distribution to follow this step by step. The token we need, we can download from Apple Business Manager. Here I am logged on. And if I go to Apps and Books, you'll see that we have purchased the VMware Intelligent Hub, the Horizon client, and Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So for example, if you would need a new application, for example OneNote, we can filter this, which will look in the Apple App Store. We can select this application, and on the right side, for our fondo.nl location, we can acquire licenses. So this is a free application, so it won't cost us any money. If this will be a paid application, this will be charged to the credit card attached to this VPP account. So this is processing to acquire the licenses needed for this application. We can continue by connecting to Workspace ONE UEM. For that, we'll go to Settings, Apps and Books, and we'll scroll down until we find our fondo.tech environment. We'll press download. So this token is now saved on my machine, and when I go back into Workspace ONE UEM, I can upload this token from my machine. Press save. Press save again. And now our acquired applications for iOS will be imported into the Purchase tab. So even if it's a free application, it's still a legal purchase. So that's why it's called purchased. So after pressing sync, we can refresh this screen, and you can see that the applications we have purchased are already here. So for example, we would like to have the Intelligent Hub sent to every user. We first need to enable device assignment. Press save and assign. Here we can press add assignment, add an assignment name, and this is a little bit different than the previous screen. We'll assign to all the corporate devices, And we have 10,000 licenses for this application available. And this is where we need to add a number of reserved licenses for this group. And restrictions, we want, if the user already has this application, we would like to take ownership. Press save. And this will be sent to all our devices. So with the volume purchase program, you are also in control of the updates. So you can choose when to install an update to your users. Or for example, here in this example for PowerPoint, you can select the application and say enable auto update. So every time there's a new update in the Apple App Store, it will automatically get pushed to your users. Otherwise, you are in control of those updates. So this is all about applications on Apple iOS. Now let's switch to Hype to see how an internal application goes for Android.
To add the Android application, we're going to switch back to the Internal tab. Select Add Application. Upload the Android application. Hit Save. Wait for the upload to finish. And then select Continue. So next up, we can modify the configuration. For example, add it to a certain category. Let's see, we're gonna add this to utilities. Minimum OS, we won't drop below version 7. So we're gonna select 7.0. And we're gonna click Save and Assign. That's it. That's how you add an Android application to your environment. We're going to skip the assignment for now, and we're going to jump to adding a public application. All right, so to add a public application, I'm going to go back to Apps and Books, select Native Applications, select the Public tab, and select Add Application. So I'm going to select the Android platform, and I'm going to first search in the App Store for the application. And I'm going to search for Boxer. All right, so it's the first hit. I'm going to select the application. And I'm going to approve the application for installation. I can see the details and then select approve once more. Next up, I'm gonna see the question how I would like to handle new application permission requests, and I'm gonna select Keep Approved. So I can make some final modifications, for example, the category. So I'll select Productivity, and I'm gonna select Save and Assign. And once more, we're gonna skip the assignment part. So as you can see, we now have the Boxer application in our public application list. So if you want to add an application which is assigned under the Google Managed Play account, you can go to Add Application under the Public tab, select Android as the platform, and instead of searching in the App Store, select Import from Play. You can switch to your Android screen by going to play.google.com/work/apps. Here we can approve applications to be assigned under the Managed Play account. So I'm going to search for the VMware Hub application. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to select Approve. I can check the details, select Approve. And this can also be a paid application, but in our case, it's a free of charge application. Once again, I'm going to get asked what to do when the application requests for new permissions. I'm going to select Keep Approved. And now the application is approved. I can go back to the console and select Next. Next up, I'm going to get a list of all the applications that have been approved under the Managed Play account. So I'm going to leave all the checkboxes checked and select Import. So after you finish the import, you can find your applications under the Public tab. You can even apply a filter to see all of your Android applications. So next up, Joris is going to discuss importing Windows applications into our environment.
So Hype has shown you how to upload an APK file for Android, how to upload an IPA file for iOS, and I'll show you how to work with Windows 10. Windows 10 has a numerous of options for applications. This can contain an exe file, MSI file, or a zip file, or a modern APPX. We'll upload an MSI file by pressing Add Application, selecting Upload, and browsing to the file we need. So Workspace ONE UEM will detect that this is an MSI file and will handle it accordingly. So first we can change the name we see on the top. This is the name we're going to see in the Intelligent Hub, just to 7-zip. So when we scroll down, you see that it says supported for 32-bit processor architecture. We can change this to 64-bit for this version of 7-zip. And if you go to the second tab, Files, you see that the MSI file has been uploaded here. And there is a possibility, for example, to upload an MST file with configuration parameters. In this case, we won't need this, because if we look at deployment options, Workspace ONE already filled in the MSI exec command, the Windows built-in software to install an MSI file. The Q and N will mean that the user won't be notified for any installation, so we won't see anything going on. We don't need a restart afterwards. The only thing we need is to upload an icon to make sure it looks nice in our Intelligent Hub environment. We'll press Save and Assign. 7-zip for Windows 10. I'll assign this to all the corporate devices. Press Save. We'll see our two Windows 10 environment laptops. Press Publish. And the software from 7-zip will be available for these users. So this is how you install an internal application for Windows 10.
So Joris, a lot of vendors nowadays have modern apps, so the APPX files from Microsoft. Can you integrate those as well into this environment?
Yeah, there are two ways of integrating those. You can either go to the Microsoft Store for Business, that's where the store has all its applications, and download an APPX file and upload it as an internal file, as I just did. Or you can have an integration with the Store for Business itself. So here in the second tab, I have the Store for Business open. I'm logged on as a fondo.tech manager, and I can look for software I need. For example, for the Netflix application, which is a modern app, I can select the application, press Get the app, and it will add it to my Workspace ONE Modern Apps for Windows 10 inventory. This information, everything you select here, will be synced to Workspace ONE UEM the same way it would for Android with Manage Play. You can assign that to the user. So let's now switch to Hype, who will take you into the world of macOS for internal and public application deployment.
Once more, we're going to go to Apps and Books, Native, and the Internal tab, and select Add Application. And I want to upload the Quicksilver application. I've already downloaded it to my Downloads folder, so I'm going to select the DMG file, select Open, and select Save to start the upload to Workspace ONE UEM. So once our DMG file is uploaded, you can select Continue. So next up, you're going to need a metadata file for the unattended installation and deinstallation of the software. So you can click the link and install this tool on your Mac. I've already done this. So you can open up the tool and then select your DMG file, in my case the Quicksilver file. Once finished analyzing the application, you can select Reveal in Finder, and here you will find the metadata file with all the options of the installer. So this is the file we'll need. So actually I'm going to use this. Select Upload, choose File, and I'll drag the file into this screen and select Open, and then select Save. So next I'm going to select Continue to modify the configuration of the application. So I'm going to put it in a category, I'll put it in utilities. We're gonna have a minimum version of Mountain Lion. Gonna put in a description. And optionally, I can modify the files, images, or even add some scripting to this application. Next up, I'm going to select Save and Assign to create an assignment for this application. But we'll switch to Joris to show the public Mac application integration.
So installing applications from the macOS App Store works in the same way as it does for iOS. So here in the Workspace on UEM console at the Purchase tab, I have my application that we've done through VPP, Volume Purchase Program. If we go back to the VPP settings, these are the applications that we're using. In the same way, I can search for Mac applications. So Microsoft has added their Office 365 applications to the App Store for macOS. So here we can select, for example, Microsoft Word. Select our location. It's a free of charge application. And we'll press Get to add these to our list. The same thing we can do, for example, for Excel. At last, we'll select PowerPoint, which is also a free application. So for Office 365, the applications are free. You just need a valid license within Office 365 to activate these applications. Also, in this case, if you want to use Keynote or any other Apple software, you can select these from the list. And when this is done processing, we can go back to our Workspace ONE environment. So when we press Sync Assets to force a sync and refresh the page, you'll see that we now have the Apple iOS Excel, but also the one for macOS. And if we filter on platform, you'll see that Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are there. The same way we assigned iOS applications to the users, we can do to macOS. So for example, we'll select Microsoft PowerPoint, select Enable Device Assignment, press Save and Assign. PowerPoint for Mac. Select the assignment group and reserve for them an amount of licenses. I can press Create, press Save, press Publish, and now Microsoft PowerPoint will be installed on all our macOS enrolled devices through the Apple App Store without the user needing to have a personal Apple ID. So setting up this account and the settings in Apple Business Manager with the Volume Purchase Program and Device Enrollment Program can sometimes be quite tricky. If you have any questions, just let us know at questions@fondo.tech.
So we're going to configure the Horizon integration into Workspace ONE Access. First, I'm going to go to the administration console of Workspace ONE Access. Next, I'm going to click the down arrow on the Catalog tab and select Virtual Apps Collection. Next, I'm going to select New. And I can choose between Horizon Cloud, Citrix, or Horizon On-Premises. We've implemented Horizon 7 on-premises, so I'm selecting the first option. I'm going to give our collection a name. Our Enterprise Services connector has automatically been added to this configuration. So I'm selecting Next. Next, I'm going to add a pod configuration. A pod is a group of interconnected connection servers within one data center. So I need to put in my fully qualified domain name of my connection server. We're going to use a service account to connect with a password. We currently don't have any smart card authentication solution, so we leave that disabled. And we're going to implement True SSO later on. True SSO is an option where when a user is logged into VDI, within that session he still has single sign-on. Now I'm going to select Add. If you have multiple data centers and multiple pods, you can add more pods in the screen. And if you want to do load balancing or make your environment high available, you can enable Cloud Pod architecture. We only have one site, so for now I'm finished and I'm selecting next. Here you can change the frequency in which the settings are being synced to Workspace ONE. We want to have this happen every Wednesday, so I'm selecting weekly and I'm going to select Wednesday. I want to have this happen at 1 o'clock. If there are any duplicate apps, you can enable that these are getting synced anyways, so I'm leaving this on. And then I can modify additional configuration. For example, if an end user needs to accept virtual apps in his hub. I want to have this being done automatically, so I'm selecting automatic. And I'm selecting a default setting for client behavior, which is in our case the browser. A end user can of course override this with his own preference. Next, I'm going to select next and save and configure a network range. For this, I'm selecting create new network range. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to have the full IP range, and the client access a fully qualified domain name is in our case vdi.fondo.tech. Next, I'm going to select save. So we successfully added our Horizon environment to Workspace ONE Access. We're taping this not on a Wednesday, I'm selecting our collection and I'm enforcing a sync. We can see that there's one desktop being added and one assignment, so that's correct. I'm going to select save. And we've successfully synchronized the settings. For now, I'm going to log off as an admin and we'll test our configuration as an end user. As you can see, the Windows Fondo virtual desktop has been added to my app collection. And when I select the application, it gets launched in the browser tab. So that's it. That's how you add a Horizon environment to your Workspace ONE configuration. Alright guys, that's it for this episode. Today we discussed adding iOS, Android and Mac and Windows applications to our environment, both internal applications and the ones from the app stores. And we've integrated our Workspace ONE environment with Horizon.
So next week we'll connect to a couple of SaaS applications, for example Office 365, and we'll start working on single sign-on.
See you next time.
Bye.